Everyone, and welcome to the John Kentera Show. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope everyone had a fantastic Easter yesterday, and we're glad to be back here. We had an opportunity to do some family things yesterday, going to church and celebrating a great day with the family, and hopefully you were able to spend it with your family and close friends. We got a lot to cover today. We're going to get into the Padres dropping 2 out of 3 over the weekend in Houston. We're going to give you an update on Luis Arraez. A lot of things to cover today. Again, I would ask you if you've not subscribed to our program, please subscribe. Very much appreciate that. Trying to build our viewing audience. And again, we're on 3 platforms. We're on YouTube, San Diego Sports Talk, John Kentera Show. We're on Facebook. You can follow me at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera 44. We always encourage your comments and always appreciate it a great deal. A lot to cover today. Padres in Detroit opening up a 3-game series tonight, Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. Ball club will be back after an off day on Thursday. They'll be back at Petco Park on Friday night, 3-game series against Tampa Bay, and then they'll have a day off, and then they'll have a 2-game set against Bob Melvin's San Francisco Giants. Padres, I guess you'd have to say a little disappointing. They had opportunities in the first 2 games on Friday and Saturday night, couldn't get it done, got it done in a big way on Sunday night. Yeah, we're going to talk more about Fernando Tatis Jr. He's been like a one-man band. He had a hell of a series in Houston. I mean, he really put up some big numbers. We're going to share that, but I want to recap the games, and then we're going to give you an update on Luis Arraez. I will tell you right now, it is heading in the right direction, I do believe. But again, we're going to know more a little bit later today when Mike Schilt meets with the media. Luis Arraez spent the night in Houston, expected, if everything goes well, expected to fly and rejoin the team in Detroit later today. And I can't imagine him being in the lineup tonight, but, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm going to give you more on that in a couple of minutes. But going back to Friday night, Padres get beat 6-4. Rookie outfielder Cam Smith blasted 2 homers, a 3-run bomb in the first inning. Actually, in the second inning, it was his first of the year. And then in the 4th inning, he went down and popped one into the Crawford boxes, barely getting out there in left field off of Kyle Hart. Kyle Hart, another rough outing. He's been very good at Petco Park, and he's been miserable on the road. You remember his first start at Wrigley Field, he lasted only 2/3 of an inning and gave up 5 earned runs. Well, the other night, he went 5+ innings, gave up 10 hits, 5 earned runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts, and gave up the 2 home runs to Cam Smith. ERA at 6.48, took the loss 2-1. Ryan Gusto hung around. He was a bullpen guy, making his second start of the year for the Astros. 5 innings, 9 hits, couple of earned runs, and then they turned it over to the bullpen. Padres, they had 12 hits, but they were only 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and that's been a problem for this Padre ball club on the road so far this year. Is they're not doing a good job with runners in scoring position, driving them in like they are at Petco Park. So they dropped the first game on Friday night. They come back and they have an early lead, but unable to hold it against the Astros. Saturday night, they got beat 3-2. Michael King, I thought, pitched pretty well. I mean, was he as dominant as he has been? No, but he was very, very good. 5 2/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, gave up a home run to Christian Walker, who's really struggling. Man, Walker's the former Arizona Diamondback, man, hitting in the 150s right now and really looks lost at the plate aside from that home run. At the end of the day, Padres couldn't get it done again. 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. By the way, Houston was also 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. But the Padres get beat 3-2. Isaac Paredes, an RBI dunker over Tyler Wade there at second base in the 7th inning, drove in Victor Caratini, and that's all the Astros needed. So they win the series, but the Padres come back on Sunday night. And I got to tell you, it was great. And you know what? I know a lot of times when the Padres are on national TV, everybody goes, "Oh man, these guys, they're not very good. They're not talking enough about the Padres." Those guys did a fine job last night. I don't want to hear anybody complaining about Carl Ravitch and Eduardo Perez and David Cohn, Buster Olney. They did a fine job. And you know what? They tried to present the Padres the best way possible. And I thought they did a good job telling the stories. I thought the one story they told about Fernando Tatis Jr. meeting with his father during the offseason when Fernando Sr. said, "Hey, do you think you're a good hitter?" And Fernando goes, "Yeah, I do." And his dad goes, "No, you're not." And now we're seeing a different guy at the plate in Fernando Tatis Jr. We're seeing a guy that's become more patient and looking for his pitch and not swinging at balls early in the count out of the strike zone. We're going to talk more about Fernando, but Fernando really was the show on Sunday night. I mean, we all, and Bob Chandler was on last week, and Bob and I mean, we're gushing about Fernando, about how much we love watching this guy play. And I've been saying it forever and ever and ever since he was a rookie. This guy, when he comes to the ballpark every night, and when you as a fan come to the ballpark every night, you never know what this guy's going to do. I've talked about how he can steal a base. I mean, he could get on, steal second, steal third in 2 pitches. He also can go from first to third as good as anyone. You see him run that triple last night? Holy Toledo, man. He was tearing around those base paths. That's beauty to me. As a baseball purist, that is flat out beauty to me watching that guy run the bases. You know, I always said the thing that I loved about Willie Mays, and I know Willie hit, 660 home runs. And I know he had the great basket catch and he roamed the outfield like no other. But the thing that I enjoyed watching about Willie Mays and Dave Winfield, 2 great Hall of Famers, was watching them go from first to third. And watching Fernando go from first to third, or last night when he hit that triple, I mean, that's beauty to me. I mean, that was awesome. That was flat out awesome watching him run that triple. But he's become that guy that when you go to the ballpark, he could do anything. He could throw a guy out. How about the play last night where he comes in, slides, and in one motion throws back to, while he's still sliding to first base, a perfect strike, didn't get the runner, but almost doubled him off. Then he made that other catch on a sac fly and made a great throw to the plate. He was just too far out. Made a right on target play. I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr., if the national media and national baseball fans didn't know enough about this guy, if they watched that game on Sunday night, this guy did it all. He did it all. He led off the game with a walk. He ends up hitting a triple. He ends up hitting a home run. He scored all the Padres runs. I mean, the guy was amazing. Flat out amazing. And the Padres won the ball game 3-2. Dylan Cease didn't get the win. Alec Jacob, who's doing a great job out of the Padre bullpen, came in. He won an inning and a third, gave up a hit and a strikeout. I got to tell you, this guy didn't throw hard enough to break a pane of glass, but the guy's getting guys out. He moves the ball around. He hits his spots, throwing some frisbees up there. I mean, he's doing a hell of a job. And you know what? This guy is putting himself in position to be in a more high leverage role. And then you turn it over to a guy like Jason Adam. Oh my God, did you see some of the pitches he was throwing on Sunday night? I mean, those balls were disappearing against the hitters. They had no clue. His ERA at 0.75, and then you turn it over to Bob Suarez. That's what everybody likes to call him. It's Robert Suarez, but Bob Suarez, he went out there and he was masterful again. I mean, his ERA in 10 innings, 0.00, ninth save of the year. Dotting the outside corner with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. How are you going to hit that? You're not going to hit that with a tennis racket. I mean, the bullpen's unbelievable. But the Padres eke out a victory. They out-hit Houston 10-7. But again, only 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. You got to do better. I mean, if you go back and look at the entire series now, on Friday night, 2 for 10, 200 average. Saturday, 1 for 7. And Sunday night, 1 for 8. That's not going to get it done. That's flat out not going to get it done. You got to do better. Padres a game under right now on the road on the year, and they got to play better on the road. The ERA is high, and the batting average with runners in scoring position is not good. Not swinging the bat as well on the road. And I know they've had injuries, okay? And I'm going to get to those a little bit later on. But I want to talk about Luis Arraez. I love this guy. We talked about him last week. We talked with him about Bob Chandler. I don't know if he'll be back next year. I really don't. He's playing a power position, and I don't know if the Padres can afford him. I mean, this guy's won 3 batting titles. When he gets back in, he'll probably win a 4th this year. This guy can hit. Not only can he hit, he's going to hit with a little bit more power. I know he's got 3 home runs right now, but he's going to hit with a little more power because he's got a healthy thumb. The guy was playing with a bad hand all last year. He ended up having a post-season surgery on that thumb. I mean, a lot of us have injured our thumbs, torn ligaments, broken a thumb. Not easy, let alone this guy played the last 3.5 months with an injured thumb last year that required surgery. And he still won a batting title. And I said when I saw him in spring training, this guy's going to swing the bat better this year. I mean, last year they used to say, well, he's got the slowest swing in baseball. Well, you know what? Maybe we can learn something from that. But, man, his bat is flat out quick. Flat out quick. And got to get him back in. But here's the story. And I'm going to read you his Instagram. And he was back in the Padre clubhouse after the ball game. They took him to Houston Methodist Hospital last night. They checked him out. And he wrote last night on X that, he thanked everybody. I'm not going to read it per se, but he thanked everybody. He's feeling good. He was back in the clubhouse, was going to spend the night in Houston. You don't want to put him in an airplane with that pressure. They're watching him for a concussion. Now, here's where it gets a little sticky. He's supposed to join the team today in Detroit, and they play at 3:40 today, our time. And he's not going to be in the lineup today. But here's where it gets a little tricky, is if they put him on the concussion protocol list, he's done for 7 days. He wouldn't be able to play until next Tuesday night against the Giants. So they're going to wait. And we'll see what the Padres' decision is later today. They're going to have to make a decision one way or the other. If they put him on that list, they'll call somebody up. Kind of anxious to see who they would call up at this point in time. I wonder, I don't know, this could cause some other roster moves as well. But anyways, I was really concerned about 2 things. Number one, I was concerned about a concussion. And then they were talking about this contusion on his jaw. That concerned me because could you imagine if he'd have broke his jaw? He'd be out 6 weeks easy. He'd be on liquid diet. And then it'd take him a while to get his strength back, and he'd probably have to go out and get some at-bats down in the minor leagues. But looks like he's going to be fine. Right now, it looks like worst-case scenario. Worst case, he would have to go on the concussion protocol list for 7 days, but that's the worst case. The best case scenario is he sits out today, and hopefully he'll be back in the lineup on Tuesday. So, boy, that collision with him and Mauricio Dubon, great bunt. I mean, both players trying to make a play. You can't blame Dubon. He got over there, and they were able to get Arraez. But, man, that was going down like a sack of potatoes there at first base. But Luis Arraez, one of my favorite guys. Guy plays the game the right way, plays hard. Got to love that. Okay, I want to get back to Fernando because he did everything all weekend. It wasn't just like, he had a good game last. He had a great game last night. And those guys in the booth and ESPN, they were falling all over themselves talking about him. I mean, they were talking about him before he ever led off. That was a great interview. Manny talking about Fernando. Manny's at the top of the dugout. Fernando's back, kind of waiting to get to the on-deck circle. That was great. We got some great national pub. I love it. But more than anything else, we're playing great baseball. The Padres are playing great baseball. But Fernando, going back and recapping his weekend in Houston, he may not want to leave. 1 for 4 on Friday night, a walk, a run scored. Then Saturday, 2 for 4, his 7th homer of the year, a run scored, and his 7th stolen base. Sunday, 2 for 4, a walk, a triple, his 8th homer, 3 runs scored. Scored them all on Sunday. For the series, Fernando was 5 of 12 with 2 walks, a triple, 2 homers, and 5 runs scored. Getting the job done. Getting the job done. And I'm looking at his numbers. And I was on with Paul Rudy this morning on KUSI at about 7:40, and they were talking about Fernando is in the running for the National League Most Valuable Player. Well, after 21 games, folks, let's pump the brakes a little bit, because we know the only thing that's going to keep Fernando from putting up these unbelievable video game numbers is injuries, and he's had a lot of injuries. Knock on wood that he's going to be able to play at least 145 games. That's been my whole deal. Play 145 and let's get the pen and pencil out with a piece of paper and let's add up his numbers, because they're going to be off the chart. I mean, this guy's got as much talent as anybody in baseball. He just got to stay on the field. 21 games, he's hitting 358. You know what was surprising to me? He's got one double. But he does have 8 home runs, but 1 double, a triple, and the 8 homers. He's got a 436 on base percentage right now, a 691 slugging percentage, and an OPS of 1128. 8 homers, 16 RBI, 7 for 7 in stolen bases. Now here's a great stat. Nowadays, guys always strike out more than they walk. And so far, and this is where Fernando Tatis Jr. comes in, said you got to be more selective. You got to be looking for certain pitches in certain situations. So far this year, Fernando's walked 12 times, and he struck out only 12 times. That's awesome, because that's not the norm in Major League Baseball now. Guys normally strike out a far higher percentage than they do walk. So right now he's at 50-50. That's awesome. So I can't sing the praises of Fernando enough. Okay, my thoughts on Dylan Cease. And, it's more not numbers, it's watching him. I thought he pitched better the other night. I said this last year, and I definitely say it this year. Dylan Cease, there's no middle ground with him. He is normally really good or he really struggles, and then he gets frustrated and he tries to overthrow, and he ends up going from bad to worse. I thought he did a really nice job Sunday night. I thought his slider was good. He didn't give in. He went 5 innings. Yeah, the pitch count probably a little bit high, but he's getting there. Now, if he can take what he did in that start against the Astros Sunday night and bring it back next weekend against Tampa Bay, now we got a guy maybe getting on a roll. He's getting a little bit closer. So we'll see where it goes. Okay, I want to get to Martin Maldonado. Going into the game Sunday night, the Padres catchers had been 0 for their last 21. 0 for 21. That'll make guys drink. Okay, and I don't want to scare anybody into drinking, but when you're a major league player and you guys are struggling, that was between him and Elias Diaz. Martin Maldonado and Elias Diaz going to the game Sunday night, 0 for the last 21. Well, Maldonado had 2 hits on Sunday night. In fact, he could have had 4. He hit the ball hard 4 times against his former mates, the Houston Astros. And I thought he did a good job. There was 1 or 2 balls that got by one in particular, I thought he should have blocked. He tried to backhand, and it ended up costing him. But so far, Martin Maldonado has actually swung the bat pretty well. And him and Elias Diaz have actually done, I think, a pretty good job. Maldonado right now hitting 257. I'll take that. I mean, I would take 220 because he's had a hard time hitting over 200 the last several years. Now, I expect a little more offense out of Elias Diaz. Now, the other guy, and we'll see about Arraez. If they have to put him on the concussion protocol list and test him for 7 days, I'd be interested to see if they'd bring Luis Camposano up. Camposano's swinging the bat really well down in AAA, hitting 387 right now, 5 homers, swung the bat very, very well. And at some point, he's going to push his way back onto this roster. I know people are going to want to talk about Yuli Gurriel, 1 for 3 on Sunday night, made a great play. I mean, that was a hell of a play he made with 1 out in the 9th. Cam Smith, that good-looking young right fielder for Houston, smoked one. There would have been at least a double, if not triple, with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th off of Bob Suarez. And Gurriel made a fantastic play. Not a lot of first basemen. In fact, left-handed first baseman would have probably had no chance at that ball. That it had to reach across their body. But Gurriel, really good, even at 40 years old, he's still a very, very talented defender. And he got a hit, and he walked. And again, I think his roster spot is probably a little bit on life support. And when you start seeing guys come back from injuries, you may see some changes. I could see a few changes as the season goes on this roster. There's no question about it. But overall, the catching's been pretty good. I can't complain. We thought that was going to be a real problem, and to this point, it really hasn't been. Those guys have done a good job. They really have. And Diaz is a pretty good hitter. He'll get going, but they were kind of in a little bit of a slump. But a good night by Martin Maldonado. Okay, Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill dealing with that right hamstring, not on the road trip. Just trying to work through it, doing drills. Not sure, and we'll find out more when the ball club gets back on Friday. Last week, was kind of taking some shadow swings, what they like call dry swings. I think hitting off the tee a little bit, but no real baseball activity. I think he might have played a little catch. But not a lot of running. Hopefully, as the week goes on, working out of Petco Park, he'll be able to increase his workload a little bit. I don't expect him back for a couple of weeks. He was eligible to come off the IL for the Houston series. Then we thought maybe when the team gets home on Friday against Tampa Bay, not looking good. So probably best case scenario, maybe the next road trip. Maybe. We'll see. But you got to be careful. It's early in the year. You got to be very, very careful. That right hamstring really slowing him down. Jake Cronenworth update on the non-displaced fracture of his rib cage. Probably at least 2 weeks. We'll have to wait and see. Again, we'll know more when the ball club gets home. Jake is on the road trip with the team at this point in time. Not sure what he's able to do. I don't think he's really doing a whole lot. Maybe a little light catch, but that's about it. And again, he got hit in his right side. So when you're throwing, that's going to cause some problems, a little stretching. So probably a very limited activity. Well, I mean, what are you going to do for a non-displaced rib fracture? It's got to let it heal. It's not like a muscle you can stretch out. And then Brandon Lockridge, he and Jackson Merrill working out together. He's got a left hamstring, so they can compare right hamstrings to left hamstrings, and no timetable for Brandon Lockridge to come back either. The other guy that I wanted to mention, and this is kind of encouraging, is Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish over the weekend threw a bullpen, and he may throw one tomorrow or Wednesday. We'll see how he's feeling, but it's going to be a long, lengthy. I can't imagine Yu Darvish being back within the next 3 to 4 weeks. If you got him back at the beginning of June, probably be good. But he threw a 20-pitch bullpen over the weekend. And like I said, he's either going to throw another one on Tuesday or Wednesday in Detroit, and then throw one when he gets back to San Diego, probably on Friday. But he threw a 20-pitch bullpen and wasn't really going 100%, throwing probably 70, 80%. Did throw a couple of balls, 90, 92, but 19 fastballs, 1 curveball, and said he felt pretty good the day after. So we'll see where that goes. Now, I promised you, and we're going to do this every Monday, the weekly report on Ethan Salas and Leo Devries. Okay. Ethan Salas, boy, off to a rough start, folks. 10 games, 41 plate appearances, 32 at bats, 6 for 32, hitting 188, 1 double, 6 walks, 5 strikeouts, on base percentage of 325, OPS of 544. Again, 41 plate appearances, 32 at bats right now, 6 for 32. That's a rough one. That's a rough one right there. Leo Devries, he's playing at Fort Wayne, high A ball. 11 games, 47 plate appearances, 43 at bats, 8 for 43, hitting 186. One double, a triple, a homer, 5 RBIs, on base percentage 255, slugging 326, an OPS 776, 4 walks, 12 strikeouts in 43 at bats at this point in time. So neither of the top two prospects in the Padres organization off to good starts. And again, I mean, I'll sound like a broken record. I would have put Ethan Salas back where he was last year, to be honest with you. I would have put him back over with Fort Wayne and let him start in high A ball, but that's me. Okay, we're going to get to some of our other little things to touch base with on today. We're going to get to let's see, what are we going to do? We got to get to the pitching matchups in Detroit. As I'm going all over here with my trying to maneuver things around, I'm just going to leave it right like that. Okay, our pitching matchups in Detroit. The first 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, are going to be at 3:40. Wednesday will be at 10:10. I like those 10:10 starts. Let the boys get back home. They get an off day on Thursday before Tampa Bay comes rolling in. Okay, tonight, Monday night, right-hander Randy Vasquez pitching so well right now. 1-1 record with a 1.74. Going against Detroit right-hander Keter Montero's only made one start, and it went 5 innings. He gave up 3 home runs against Milwaukee. He's 0-1 with a 9 ERA. I think the Padres may have the advantage in that matchup. Tuesday, oh, this is a good one. Nick Pivetta, 3-1 and a 1.57, going against former Dodger right-hander Jack Flaherty. He got his World Series ring. He's 1-1 and a 2.53. And then Wednesday, you got left-hander Kyle Hart making his third start on the road this year. 2-1 with a 6.48, going against right-hander Reese Olson. 2-1 and 4.50 ERA. Tell you what, Padres, Jackson Jobe, a really nice pitcher for Detroit. Padres miss him, and they miss last year's American League Cy Young Award winner and Tarek Skubal. So Padres, hey, get 2 out of 3. I mean, finish up 3-3 on this road trip. If you do that, then you're going to be sitting in pretty good shape coming home Friday night against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's good, but they're not what Tampa Bay has been in the past. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, before we get to the National League West standings, let's get out to Coach's mailbag, and I want to start dropping in some questions here a little bit. Let's see what we got today. Mariah, what is your record prediction for the Padres by the All-Star break? Well, Mariah, I'll tell you what, I really don't know how many games there are prior to the All-Star break. I don't know how it's not, 81 and 81 to make it 162. I'll have to look, and you know what? I'll have to get back to you on that because I really don't know how many games they play in the technically the first half of the season. But I expect them to be, hopefully where they're at right now. I mean, they're 10 games over 500 right now. Let's stay there. I mean, you're sitting at 16-6. Let's stay at least 10 games, if not more, over 500. I'd like to be, 15, 16 games. I mean, that's good baseball. Anytime you're 10 games or above, you're playing pretty good baseball. So I'll have to get back to you on that. I'll try to do some figuring between now and Wednesday. Diego, the fan, will we ever see Fernando back at shortstop? Miss seeing his electric plays there. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so for the simple reason that that's a premium position that takes a great toll on you physically. And it's like playing center field. I don't even want to see him play center field. I don't want to like put this guy in a bubble, but I want to put this guy in a bubble because I want to keep him on the field. I mean, the great talk in athletics is your greatest ability is your availability. And we got to keep this guy on the field. And so for the most part, he stayed on the field. I know he had some problems last year, and there's always, the shoulder's a concern. But right now, you keep him where he's at. I think he plays a little shortstop or still works out taking ground balls during the winter, and he still takes ground balls with the Padres. And in a pinch, maybe it's some weird scenario, maybe he gets a start at shortstop someday. I'm never going to say never he's not going to play, but I don't see him being the everyday regular shortstop. No matter where this guy plays, if he stays on the field and has another great decade, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. There are a lot of great players that should have been Hall of Famers, but they're, for whatever reason, injuries, uh, derailment of their career because of addiction. I mean, every time I see Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden, those guys are two Hall of Fame talents, but they screwed up. And hopefully, both of them have their life together now. Man, I'll tell you, man, Darryl Strawberry can hit a ball as far as anybody I've ever seen. And Dwight Gooden, man, yeah, curveball. I remember sitting behind home plate when he was a young right-hander with the New York Mets. He had no chance. But and both those guys ended up having great careers, but they had a lot of off-field issues. They missed a lot of games. Those are Hall of Fame type guys. And Fernando's got to play. When Fernando plays and isn't out with an injury, the guy puts up unbelievable numbers. But he's got to be able to play. But I don't see him being back at shortstop. Maybe on occasion if you're in a pinch, but I just don't think they want to. The Padres at least don't want to go that direction at this point in time. But I appreciate that question. Mike, man, we could really use Merrill back in the lineup, but no need to rush anything with him. Amen to that, Mike. Love to have Jackson back, but a hamstring, I mean, you go out there and you try to push it and accelerate trying to backhand a ball in the left center field gap or going to the right center field gap or coming in, and you blow out that hamstring. Not only if you pop it, but if you tear it, you're done for the year. You're going to have surgery. And I got news for you. When you have surgery or when you have a real bad hamstring injury, it's never the same. I don't care what anybody says, never the same. But yeah, you got to get him back in there. I mean, really, for the Padres to still be 10 games over, considering the injuries that are starting to bite them, they're doing a good job. They really are. Joe, is it fair to say Gavin Sheets should be in the lineup every day, regardless lefty or righty? I think, Joe, at some point in time, you're going to have to roll the dice. Now, he ended up coming in last night against Framber Valdez. Sheets is hitting 333 on the year. He's got a lot of confidence going right now. With what you've got on the roster, yeah, you're probably going to have to push the envelope with him a little bit. I don't know what historically his numbers are against left-handers, but you know what? I'm going to throw those out, and I'm going to tell you why, because this guy's a different hitter than he was with the White Sox. He's using the big part of the field, using the middle of the diamond, working the ball the other way, pulling it when he has to. I mean, I'll tell you what, he hit a ball Sunday night. He hit a rocket to the left of Cam Smith, that left. I don't know how the hell he caught that ball. That ball was a rocket. And that should have been an extra base hit, ended up being an out, a hard out. But I agree with you. I think we're going to need to see more of a Gavin Sheets. I think he's an everyday guy. One way or the other, he's an everyday guy. And the thing that I needed to mention, Jason Hayward went over on the IL Friday, and they brought up Terso Ornelas. And Terso got one at bat over the weekend. He flew out to left, but congratulations to the Tijuana native. He has been toiling down in the minor leagues and really earned his promotion. It wasn't just, hey, we're going to bring this guy up. I mean, he earned his promotion. And he was hitting 295 coming off a great season a year ago, had a good spring training. And hopefully we'll see a little bit more of Terso Ornelas in this series against Detroit. But Jason Hayward having a tight hamstring. Well, what's with all the Padre outfielders having tight hamstrings? Are they not stretching? What's going on there? Wapu, what is going on with Connor Joe? Is he on the decline or does he need reps to get going? I think he needs some reps to get going. I'm watching Connor's face, and I've watched him play a lot. I've seen him play since he was at Poway High School, and I know him pretty well. And I've been in workouts with him when I worked out a bunch of pro guys a few years ago. I actually caught a lot of balls. He was playing third base and firing the ball across. And me at the time, 62 years old, backhanding balls, and he's throwing, man. He's got a good throwing arm. His arm's strong. I think he just needs some work. And again, I think for all those guys that are coming off the bench, they're always wondering if this is going to be my last at bat. Am I going to get sent down? And I think for a guy that's been around the game as long as him, it's still tough, but you got to get going. And I think he plays the on base percentage game, which is great. But I think he's finding himself behind in the count and then having to hit that pitcher's pitch. I think he needs to go up and change the narrative a little bit and ambush somebody early in the count and kind of get himself going a little bit. Okay, so that's the comment on Connor Joe. Matthew, do the Padres have it in them to spark a trade for a good starting pitcher? I feel it's our biggest weakness, maybe Sandy Alcantara. They're going to have to give up somebody good. I don't want to give up Ethan Salas. I don't think the Padres want to give up Ethan Salas. I don't want to give up Leo Devries. Maybe there's an arm the Padres would be willing to give up. I think it's a little bit early to talk about trade. I think we got to kind of see who's available, what teams are in it. We know Miami's not going to be in it in the East. And how about Atlanta, though? For crying out loud. Now they got Ronald Acuna Jr., who's not even playing, barking about Brian Snitker on how he didn't take Jared Kelenic out of the lineup the other day, like he did with Acuna Jr. a few years ago. So you got some real problems brewing there with Atlanta. I wonder if they're at some point in time wanting to trade Acuna Jr. He's never on the field. He's always hurt. And calling out the manager, not a good sign. But anyways, Sandy Alcantara, I would imagine he would be available coming back from Tommy John surgery, but I think it's a little bit early. But I think the other thing, remember, you're going to get Darvish back. And and right now, Randy Vasquez is pitching well. Kyle Hart, as long as we pitch him at Petco Park, he's been pretty good on the road. Man, he's been rough. I don't know what the deal is with him on the road. But he's going to get another opportunity on Wednesday morning to go against Detroit. And that'll be his third road start. His first two have not been good. But I think AJ's always on the lookout for a good pitcher. And the bullpen is incredible. Okay, I mentioned the 3-game series. Detroit's got a good ball club. AJ Hinch and the powers to be there in Detroit put in a good ball club. They've been kind of building the last few years. This will be a good series, I think, against the Tigers. Again, I think Padre pitching been great. And if you can get it to the bullpen, holy Toledo, the bullpen is just off the chart right now. Looking at Detroit, they got some really nice players. I'll tell you a guy that's really picked it up for them, Spencer Torkelson, their former number 1 draft pick. It looked like he might end up in AAA or not get a whole lot of playing time, but he's done a great job this year. And the other guy, the outfielder that I really like a great deal is Riley Green. Yesterday, the Tigers got beat in 10 innings at home by the Royals, 4-3. Of course, Bobby Witt had a big ball game, drove in the game-winning run in the top of the 10th. But when you take a look at the Tigers right now, they got Gleyber Torres, the former Yankee. They got Kerry Carpenter, who, if you throw an inside fastball, can take it out of the ballpark. I mentioned Spencer Torkelson. This guy has had a hard time hitting 200. He's hitting 288 this year. And again, the Tigers right now sitting at 13-9 on the year, playing pretty good baseball overall. That American League Central, you never know about, but right now they have a half-game lead over Cleveland. Tigers at 13-9, and Guardians 12-9, and everybody else in the AL Central under 500. Kansas City at 9-14, Twins 7-15, and Will Venable and the White Sox at 5-16. Let's take a look at the National League West standings. Again, we're going to get to some more of your comments, questions. Whether you're watching live right now, you can type them in. And we'll also get to a little more in the coach's mailbag. Okay, National League West, as we sit on this Monday morning, the San Diego Padres hanging on by a thread right now. Dodgers came within 2 outs of sweeping the series against Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers. Kirby Yates gave up a 2-run walk-off homer on Saturday. and that was the win for Texas. And then they came back, the Dodgers, yesterday and defeated the Rangers 1-0. Padres sitting at 16-6. Dodgers half game back. They're idle today. They'll play a brief 2-game set at Wrigley Field starting on Tuesday. They're 16-7. San Francisco 14-8. They dropped 2 of 3 over the weekend to the Angels. Angels continuing to play good, hard baseball. 14-8, the Giants there, 2 games back. Arizona 13-9, 3 games back. In Colorado, sitting at 4-17 right now, 11.5 games back. They split a doubleheader on Sunday. So there you have it. Okay, let's get to some more questions. I like questions. By the way, I don't know how many of you pay attention to NFL draft. We may do a little draft stuff on a Wednesday show. I like talking about the draft. I got my Our Lads draft guide. For years on radio, I did a draft show and absolutely loved doing that draft show. And I still get my Our Lads draft guide. We have a great time with that. And we'll, there it is right there. Right there, my draft guide. I'm ready to go. Might talk a little bit about the draft, whether I get somebody on or I just talk about it myself. We're going to do that on Wednesday a little bit. Pedro, great listening to you, Coach. I'm down here in Guadalajara, Mexico. Great job. Thank you very much, Pedro. And, I've got you got to keep an eye on a ball player of mine, Winton Bernard, playing for Yucatan. Opened up over the weekend, played in 2 of the 3 games out of Mexico City. He had 3 hits on Friday night, and Saturday he came back with a 1 for 3. So you got to keep an eye on my man Winton Bernard playing for Yucatan down in the Mexican League. And there's some good players down in that Mexican League. I don't know. There's some guys in Mexico. I don't know why they're not in the big leagues. I really don't. It's but you don't have as many minor league teams now. Commissioner Manfred wiped out 42 minor league teams a couple of years ago. But Pedro, thank you very, very much. Very much appreciate that. What else we got today? Well, I think that's going to wrap it up. And again, Padres going to be in Detroit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, back home Friday night against Tampa Bay. And then they'll have a series against the San Francisco Giants on the 29th and 30th. The 29th, by the way, will be the traditional 6:40 start. The 30th on that Wednesday afternoon will be at 1:10. Again, want to appreciate everyone for tuning in. I'd like you to subscribe. I'd like you to like, and I'd like you to spread the word. Again, we're on 3 platforms. We're on YouTube, San Diego Sports Talk, the John Kentera Show. We're on Facebook at John Kentera. We're on X at Coach Kentera 44. Let's hope our Padres can get the first 2. We'll be back in to set up Game 3 on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Until then, have a great day, everyone. And again, thanks for tuning in to San Diego Sports Talk, the John Kentera Show. Bye-bye.